Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. So my name's Caroline, and on this channel I post about memory journaling, scrapbooking, lifestyle content, all that kind of stuff. But today I really wanted to talk about books, which is another part of my life. I absolutely love books. I've always loved reading, and I've been in quite the reading slump lately. So I thought, what better video to film than a book related video to maybe get my love for reading back on track. So today I'm going to be talking about all of the books that sort of surprised me that I didn't really think I'd love, but I ended up loving. A lot of these books are ones that actually got me out of reading slumps. So if you are in a reading slump, maybe test out one of these books. That really helped me. If you like this kind of content, make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so I am a Kindle reader about 70% of the time, and then a physical book reader about 30% of the time. And that is just because of the money aspect. Books are expensive, and I have a Kindle Unlimited account. So a lot of these have been on my Kindle, so I'm just going to put the book covers up here. The first book that I want to start out with is Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. So the reason this book is on the list is sort of a shocking one to start out with because the cover is absolutely beautiful, as you can tell. This book is by Axie O, and it's a young adult fantasy novel, and it tells the story of Mina. She's a young woman who sacrifices herself for her brother and his beloved. And then this eventually leads her to the spirit realm, a magical world, and she has to awaken the slumbering sea god and end a curse that plagues her homeland. So it's a retelling of a Korean folktale called The Tale of Shim Chung. This book really surprised me. After reading that synopsis, I don't know why I ever thought I wouldn't like this book, because that sounds amazing. Thought I wasn't going to like this book because it was assigned in one of my college courses. So I was just like, oh, I'm not going to like this book because I have to read it for school. But I was hooked. I was in a horrible reading slump because I was reading a lot for school and doing a lot of schoolwork, and this book absolutely pulled me out of it. I would definitely recommend this book if you love anything fantasy, any kind of retelling. Yeah, I'm thankful to this book for getting me out of the reading slump at that time, and maybe I can find another one like it now to help me get out of my slump. Okay, the next book is also on the Kindle, and it's Carrie Soto is Back. This book is by Taylor Jenkins Reid, who is author of Malibu Rising and Daisy Jones and the Six. I'm sure you have heard of those books, but this book is basically about a 37-year-old tennis player. Carrie is making a comeback out of retirement in this book. She has a very interesting dynamic with the media, which I think is really cool because a lot of women athletes have really interesting dynamics with the media. Yeah, she's coming back to defend her title in this book, and it is emotional, it is dramatic, it has insane characters, it is a crazy ride of a story. And I think the reason I thought I wouldn't like this book is because I absolutely love Daisy Jones and the Six, and Taylor Jenkins Reid is the author of that book too. And I just thought nothing could ever compare to that book. Like, the writing style is going to be similar because it's the same author, and I was like, I'm just going to miss that book so much. And although this book is nowhere near Daisy Jones and the Six for me, it's a spinoff of Malibu Rising. Carrie Soto is. So, and I liked Malibu Rising, but I didn't love Malibu Rising. So I was like, meh, it's probably going to be so-so. But I love this book. I love a obsessed artist storyline. And Carrie is an obsessed artist. She's obsessed with her craft, which is tennis. I just think it's so inspiring to read stuff like that. If you haven't read this, it was out a while ago. But if you haven't read this, this might be a really good book because it's pretty fast paced. Hard to even put the book down. So yeah, definitely recommend. Okay, the next book is The Last Dollar Princess. So this is also a Kindle book on the Kindle Unlimited. And I just pulled the synopsis off of the Amazon Kindle Unlimited because I didn't want to give anything away. So just to summarize, it's the Gilded Age in New York, and India would prefer a life of philanthropy in her native Appalachia, but Mother and Grandmama have a far greater plan. They believe Miss Astor's Old 400 are ready to overlook the past and that an advantageous marriage will cement their place in society once more. In fact, they have already selected the prospective bridegroom. The only problem, no one consulted India. The Last Dollar Princess leads us on a riveting quest for self-determination through the most elegant and glamorous settings of the early 20th century, perfect for fans of Julian Fellows. The sweeping work of historical fiction will stay with readers long after the last page is turned. So, if anyone knows me, you're probably like, that sounds exactly like something you would love. I mean, The Gilded Age, I absolutely love The Gilded Age show. Julian Fellows, I love Downton Abbey. I love anything 20th century. The reason I didn't think I would like this book is not even a good excuse. I thought it would be sort of a cheesy historical fiction book that didn't really have much of a plot, and the characters were really two-dimensional, something to read, but I didn't think it would be very good or well written, and it also didn't have a lot of reviews at the time that I read it. But come to find out that I loved this storyline, and there's more books after this that I read as well. And the story is just wonderful. I loved the characters, and they were a little bit two-dimensional at times, and it was a little bit cheesy sometimes, but I absolutely ate it up. I loved these books. If you like historical fiction kind of shows, this book is just like you're watching one of those shows, in my opinion. It's just so fun. It's so dramatic. I love it. Definitely recommend these books if you like stuff like that. The next book that I have is The Surrogate Mother by Frida McFadden. So her books are all over Kindle Unlimited. I have read so many of them now. But when I first saw this book, I did not think it would be good, and I will tell you why after I say this synopsis. So this book is a psychological thriller, and it is about a woman named Abby who really wants to be a mother, but she's unable to have children. So her and her husband hire a woman named Monica to be the surrogate mother, but it turns out that she has a secret, and things kind of go awry, and there's just twists and turns, and Monica ends up not being exactly who you think she is. So I will just leave it at that, but let's just say you will not be able to put this book down. It is insane. And the reason I didn't think I would like this book is because I'm not so much of a thriller person. I don't normally gravitate towards thrillers, but I had heard how quick Frida McFadden's books went by, and I really needed something to get me out of a reading slump. So I decided to try one of her books, and I could not put it down. I think I finished this in a day or two. The funny thing about it, though, is there's a lot of miscommunication in this book, which is my least favorite trope. But for some reason, I was so annoyed for the characters, and I was so annoyed at some of the characters that I wanted it to be resolved so bad that I couldn't even put the book down. Her books are literally a cure for reading slumps, I swear. I was also surprised that I liked it because I thought the title was odd. And I know that's so silly, but I was just like, how could a surrogate mother be a thriller? I just didn't understand, but trust me, it is, and you'll be hooked. Okay, now we have the next book, which is one I'm sure everybody has heard of, and it's The Nightingale by Christine Hanna. Guys, this book, I will say the synopsis of it just in case you haven't heard of it, but I'm sure you have. Basically, The Nightingale is a historical fiction novel by Christine Hanna, and the book tells the story of two sisters in France during World War II and their struggle to survive and resist German occupation there. That might not sound so interesting, but this is in my top 3 favorite books. And I actually got this book probably the year it was published from a yard sale, and it was sitting on my shelf forever, and I never picked it up because I just didn't know if I would like it. I gave it a chance one day and picked it up and read it, and now it is one of, if not my favorite book I have ever read. And the reason I thought I wouldn't like it is really shallow. It's because I thought it was really big and I didn't know if it would make me sad, and I didn't necessarily want to feel sad, and I thought it might drag on and put me in a reading slump. But if anything, it was the complete opposite. Although the material in this is heavy, I flew through the book because it was just so beautifully written. I mean, Christine Hanna, her writing is amazing. It's definitely the best I think I've ever read. She captures these awful traumatic moments in a way that makes you feel like you really know the characters in real life. She also has a way of blending in like these beautiful, heartfelt moments that really lighten some areas of the book. If you haven't read it, give it a shot. I normally read fantasy books, so that's why I guess I thought I wouldn't like this as well. If you have read it, comment down below, because I don't have anyone to talk about this book with, and I would love to talk to somebody about it. So let me know if you've read it. The next book that I read is another very, very popular one that is also now one of my favorite books, and that is The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. This book I do have a physical copy of. However, I would 150% recommend listening to the audiobook because it is voiced and read by John Green. And I love audiobooks that are read by the authors. He has such a way with storytelling and writing. When an author reads their book, to me, it's just they read it the way it's supposed to be because they know the writing inside and out. You know what I mean? And I'm also going to mention this book by John Green, Tuberculosis is Everywhere, in the same vein, and just talk about them together because same thing. You should definitely listen to this book because he reads it. This book is basically a collection of different stories and essays, and he reviews them. A book about the human condition, basically. The way that John Green thinks about things is so interesting. And as someone who does not have a John Green-esque brain, I don't really think about life the way that he does. So it's so interesting to hear how he reviews things. I mean, we all go through life reviewing things without even knowing it every day. The tuberculosis book, I did not know if I would like this book because who thinks about tuberculosis? You know what I mean? But the truth is, many people do because it's still a challenge many people have to face on a daily basis that I am privileged enough not to have to think about. So this book was eye-opening to me, so educational. I did not think I would like this book, but it ended up also becoming one of my favorite books of all time. And if you haven't read it, please give it a chance because, like I said, I normally read fantasy and absolutely loved it. I felt like a better person for having read it. I learned about something that people face every day and I didn't even know. And I learned a lot about tuberculosis, the history behind it, and what it looks like today. Check out these two books by John Green. I will say I didn't think I would like either of them. They go by very quick, and if you listen to them, it's even better. I have one last book to talk about, and that is One Italian Summer. So I believe this book was pretty popular, and the reason it's on my list is, once again, I normally don't read books like this. I normally read things like young adult fantasy, new adult fantasy, science fiction kind of stuff, and this book is definitely not that. There is sort of a magical element to this book, but it's more like an unexplained phenomenon kind of thing. This book is basically about a woman whose mother dies, and it's before the mother-daughter trip, and then she ends up meeting a woman on her trip. The woman that she meets on this trip is her mother when she was 30. So they end up meeting on this Italian vacation they were supposed to go on, but the woman thought she was going to have to go without her mother. And this is just a beautiful telling of a mother-daughter relationship. And I loved it so much. It made me want to hug my mom and call her and tell her how much I appreciate her. And it makes me want to go and travel with my mom and go to Italy. And it's just a fun world to get wrapped up in. It's Also a book where I thought the characters would be very two-dimensional, but they ended up being very three-dimensional in my opinion. I think if you're in a reading slump, this will definitely pull you out of it because it's another really fast-paced book. And it's one where you don't want to put it down because you are so excited to see the two back together. Fair warning, this book may make you sad, but it's not a bad sad. It is a sort of melancholy sad that makes you want to revisit the past and hope for the future. So those are all of the books that I was shocked and surprised that I loved. Books that I didn't think I would really like and ended up really, really enjoying, and some have even made my top 5 favorite books of all time. Lastly, I just want to say what book is up next on my TBR. That is Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. This book is the 3rd book in a series about Emily Wilde, and she is obsessed with all things fairy. She is an expert in academia on fairies, and it is just a wonderful book. The 2nd book that is up next for me is Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn. This is another very popular book, and I can't wait to read it. It is a big book, but one thing I have learned from this video is that just because a book is large doesn't mean it's going to put me in a reading slump. If anything, it might get me out of a reading slump. So I'm going to try this one out. But that is it for this video. Thank y'all so much for watching. Please check out my other content. I have a lot of stuff on memory journaling, digital journaling, and scrapbooking. Like and subscribe. Check out my other content. And let me know down below what you are reading and what's up next on your reading list for the summer. I need some more ideas. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.